Hello, I want to thank you for clicking on this channel. I'm PI187. Today I'm going to be reacting to the Doner Kebab. This one is called the Doner Kebab Turkish or German? Um, Anyhow, I'd mentioned before that here in Canada, Nova Scotia has, now we don't call it a kebab. It is on a big stick and a rotisserie type thing, but we just call it doner. I'm not even sure if they're exactly the same because I mentioned in the video I watched it told me that you guys have donairs, and like I said, I love donairs. Like donairs here, the ones from Nova Scotia are like my favorite food, hands down. They're not cheap by any means. Like they're actually very, very expensive. We have one store here in my town that makes them, and they import all the meat and stuff from Nova Scotia. I've learned how to make them at home. I've went on YouTube and watched a video of a guy from Nova Scotia showing you how you can make it at home, but you don't make it on a spit. Basically, you flatten out the meat on a big pan and then cook it in the oven and then slice it into strips. It's not exactly the same, but it's close. It's, you know, the best you're going to do from cooking it at home, unless you're going to put it into a big spit and rotisserie it and whatnot. But anyhow, and a lot of people, I told them what the sauce was made of, and if I didn't tell you what the sauce was made of, you'd probably think, oh my, it's like if you have to taste it first, because I mentioned in the video how it was made, because like I said, I've watched a video on how to make it, so I've made the sauce that they put on the Nova Scotia donairs here, and it's just amazing on it. But a lot of people made comments in my video that it sounded disgusting and gross and yada 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 because of the ingredients. But like I said, if I never told you the ingredients and just said, here, try this, I've never had anybody say they didn't like it. I've had people say they didn't like the texture of the sauce, like the way it is, and be like, oh, I don't like that texture, but never the taste. But when I told you guys what was actually in it, they were like, oh my god, that's just disgusting. You have to have this, this, and this on a doner kebab. And like I said, it might not even be the same meat. It might not be the same recipe. So it could be a totally different thing with just the same name. But this is but like I said, it's my favorite thing from period if you're going to go out and grab takeout. And like I said, I don't get it often because it's very expensive. That's why I learned how to make it at home also, because it is pricey. But anyhow, I want to check out more on the doner kebabs that you guys have and find out how similar they actually are or how different they actually are. So let's do this.
Doner kebab. It's no longer just a matter of taste, whether the version served on a plate or in flatbread is better. It's now a culture.
Honestly, I like it both ways. Ours come in a flatbread wrapped up, but you can buy it, just buy the bag of meat and the sauce, and you could do it in a bowl. When I make it here at home, sometimes I just put it all in a bowl, no flatbread, eat it. It's just as good. And messy. They're ours here, because of the sauce, is very messy. They wrap it in tin foil when they give it to you in a thing, and you just peel back the tin foil a bit and kind of eat it down, and you peel back tin foil. If not, you want to put a plate under you and a bunch of paper towels. It's not a very neat thing to eat. It's very messy.
Dispute between the two doner metropolises, Istanbul and Berlin. People in Istanbul feel
no one does Turkish food better than Turkey. I go for the Turkish doner.
Now, I guess they're going to tell me, but I guess there is a difference between the Turkish doner and the German doner. Kind of like there's probably a difference between the Nova Scotia doner here in Canada. But ours is the same thing. It's on a big spit like that. They cut it off in strips.
And Yusuf Efelola agrees. The deputy chairman of the International Doner Federation, UdoFed, is a proud guardian of the doner's heritage.
Doner is a traditional Turkish dish, and its homeland is Turkey.
And that's why the Federation wants to have the Turkish doner protected by the European Union. They want to see it registered under the Traditional Specialities Guaranteed System, down to all its ingredients. Could this spell danger for the German doner?
A so-called German doner has shown up recently. I've never tried it. It can't compete with the original.
But doner is also a cult food in Berlin.
I'm sure everybody says that though, like, you know, the Turkey ones are saying the German one can't compete. The German one's saying the Turkish one can't compete. And then you got me saying that I just literally love the one from Nova Scotia, which is part of Canada. But I don't know where they got it from. They might have stole it from you guys. I don't know, or stole it from Turkey. But the meat does look a little like it might be made of different stuff. Ours is like compressed Hamburg with lots of spices and whatnot in it, but like once it's compressed, it's just one solid chunk of meat. And yeah, they cut it off in strips, same type of thing, but it looks like this one might be made of some other types of meat. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm sure this video will tell me.
And in the German city, it's usually served in bread, and the meat is veal. That's a far cry from Istanbul's version.
Okay, yeah, because ours isn't made from veal. Ours is made from cow.
Not to mention the many sauces and other rather German ingredients used in Berlin, such as red cabbage.
That doner meat right there, that's basically exactly what our doner meat looks like. Like the other ones I saw them cutting off looked like it had chunks of stuff in it. That's almost a spitting image of the doner meat we have here.
Sauces and other rather German ingredients used in Berlin, such as red cabbage. But Gürsel Ulber from the Berlin Association of Turkish Doner Manufacturers in Europe isn't taking the patent application from his Istanbul competitors very seriously.
We're against it. It'll never go through, I'm sure of that. Doner is an umbrella term. That's why we objected to this. Think about it. Pizza is another umbrella term. You can't patent or protect it.
But what if the name is registered? Would Berlin's doner varieties face extinction? Sociologist Eberhard Seidel studies the cultural history of the doner.
See that doner meat there.
Is the cultural history of the doner.
That doesn't look like the same doner meat that we have here. I don't know exactly what that's made out of. Sorry about that. Ugh. But I would give it a try anyways, because, you know, I'm sure it, like, I've heard this is like the #1 food. Even though it wasn't on my list of top 10 foods, I had a lot of people say in the comments that doner is probably the top eaten thing over there for considered fast food or whatever. And over here, it's not really considered fast food. Like I said, we have one restaurant that sells it, and it's very expensive, and it's kind of more of a novelty thing. Not many people, I think, even eat it. Like, I've had to tell a lot of people about it and have them try it. And like I said, everybody's loved it unless they just don't like the texture of the sauce. Some people aren't for that, but other than that, they're amazing, to be honest.
The regulation would mean that most donors in Germany couldn't be called doner because they wouldn't comply with the regulations when it comes to the meat and other ingredients. That would be quite an assault on Germany's #1 national dish, which is what the doner has become. And it would be an affront to German identity.
Identity symbols are one thing, but over in Turkey, the doner varieties are seen as real threats.
There are fakes, imitations, and dishonest practices that are a threat to public health. This has long-term repercussions for future generations. That's why we see the need to set a standard.
The roots of this conflict lie in the past. In the 1950s, many Turkish people came to Berlin for work, bringing the dish with them and adapting it to local preferences. Before long, the doner fan base grew far beyond Berlin. So where does all this leave doner? Is it typically German or Turkish? What about German Turkish?
Huh.
For me, it's definitely from Berlin. It's Turkish cuisine, even though it's from Germany. Mixed, but the Turkish version has more meat.
Its success has made the Berlin version of doner in bread an export hit to Europe and beyond. The doner lobby in Turkey doesn't like that at all, says this expert.
See that one there that guy was making?
Turkey doesn't like that at all.
Let's see. Kind of looks, this is more close, except for ours is in a round pita. They roll it into a circle. But it's basically the meat, lettuce, tomato, onion, cheese, and then the sauce on it. That's all. And I guess you can have hot peppers on it if you want. I don't do the hot peppers. I think my son does. But mainly, like, that's what they, at the Donair place here, the Nova Scotia version, that's all they offer with it is lettuce, tomato, onion, cheese, and hot peppers. And I always get lettuce, cheese, onions, and sometimes extra cheese. And yeah, the lettuce, onion, tomato, and extra cheese. Definitely the sauce. Like I said, like if I told you what the sauce was made of, you'd be like, oh my God, that's so disgusting. But if you don't know and you just had it first, it's a must-have with it then. And it really works good with the meat.
Says this expert.
Because our meat, I don't know about your meat, but our meat's a little spicy. It's not very spicy, but it has a little bit of heat to it, and our sauce is sweet. So it's kind of that spicy sweet mixture that to go against each other, if you know what I'm saying.
But
My suspicion is that the Turkish Federation from Istanbul is trying to monopolize the doner on the world market for itself and push the German doner out of the market.
back in Istanbul, Yusuf Efilola gets his real doner. He openly admits that his federation's application is about tradition and about money.
We believe that this will be an economic plus for Turkey, and above all, will help the donor's export performance.
So is this the real doner, or this, or both? Berlin or Istanbul, the Jew...
They do both look different. One looks like it's made from chicken almost. I'm not sure. The Turkish one looks like it's made from chicken or some other type of meat, where the one from Germany looks like it's almost like a beef or maybe venison like they said, but more of a red meat than a white meat.
Jury is still out, and perhaps it is just a matter of taste.
Honestly, I would try them both. I would like to try them both. Now, to me, some of the sauces that people mentioned that they put on them in Germany sound not very appealing. I might not try all the sauces on it. Like they said, mine didn't sound very appealing, but at the same time, it goes both ways. So, but I'm sure they are good that way. I'm sure. But you guys also have a lot more different types, like sauces that you put on them there than ours. Ours, like I said, we call it donair sauce. It's the only thing that goes on it, and it's made specifically for it. You don't eat it on anything else. Now, it's pretty decent to dip your fries in or something if you want. We once had a restaurant here called the King of Pizza and Donair, and they would put donair meat on your pizza, and then they would drizzle it with the donair sauce, and it was the same donair sauce from Nova Scotia that this other donair place I'm talking about has. But I know you guys put there's a few different things you guys put on them, depending on, I guess, what you're feeling that day. Or your taste, I guess. And everybody's taste would be different. But I would still try it out. Like I said, there might be a couple sauces I might not try, but I would like to try the donair out. Both of them, the Turkish one and the German one. Now, honestly, to me, the German one looked more appealing, because it looked more closer to what I'm used to. The Turkish one looked a little, those Turkish kebabs looked a little different. So I'm not sure what they're made of. It almost looked like it's, like I said, it could be chicken, it could be pork. I'm not sure, but they definitely weren't the same color or texture. But anyhow, yeah, and if you want to check out, if you're kind of wondering what I'm talking about, search up Nova Scotia Donair. There's videos on it, and you'll find out what I'm talking about, what our donair is like over here. Like I said, you might not like the sauce if you find out what it's made out of, But that's a lot like anything, really. You know, if you read the ingredients to everything, would you be like going, "Oh my God, that's what I want to consume"? But you eat it, it's good, and then you read the instructions, and ingredients, it's something else. Um, but ours over here is honestly, like I said, my favorite thing to eat. Like my son's favorite thing, we get it as it's a delicacy to us. It's a perk bonus when we can actually go out and get them for dinner. Because like I said, they're so expensive. So if you buy it for the whole family, you're spending like basically $100 for your meal. But anyhow, I want to thank you for watching this video, and hopefully I'll learn a little bit more about the German Doner, because they didn't really teach me that much about that in this. I was kind of hoping I was going to find out more of how it was made and the ingredients, but I guess this was more just an argument between what one's better, Turkish or German. And let me know in the comments which one you think's better, if you've had them both, or what's your preference anyways. But anyhow, you guys have yourselves a great day, and I hope you check out one of my other videos. All right, bye for now.